Beautiful, beautiful brothers and sisters, Gia Ariati here, the messenger of our 144 mission messages. So I am the oracle for the 144, and I am so fucking stoked to be sharing this. Oh my God, I am so excited. I am like, yes, 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 guys, we're doing it. We're doing it. It's okay. Just 15 more days to go. You can do this. So if you have not experienced any of my transmissions, oracle readings, or any communications before, please be aware that this will be highly activating. You will remember who you are on some level through vibration, frequency, and soul. My mission is to activate the remembrance of who you truly are so you can live in alignment with your soul. So that is my key desire and the absolute truth of my life experience. So everything I do is speak the word of truth through the law of one so that you and I can remember, instate, and return sovereignty back to this beautiful experience that we call Earth. So, as you are jumping in, this is going to be a very exciting transmission because some of you are going to be like, wow, is that's what's been happening? Holy moly. It is going to have a lot of multifaceted aspects, and I am going to do my absolute best to translate to you a very multidimensional topic into a human interpretation and language, which is something I am quite good at. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please press like, subscribe, and comment when you are jumping on so that we can engage. We can really build the momentum. We can align the message to those. Now, there has been some big awareness as to why my suppression of my voice, the suppression of my social media, and the suppression of these channels has been. And I understand now because it has to do with this exact mission. So I knew that I was suppressing my reach. I knew that I was not sharing 144 messages for a period of time. I knew that my oracle was offline. I knew that so many things were missing. Yet, as I was transitioning into New Earth, I just kind of justified it from the human lens that it was all about the transformational process. Turns out that when you remember, now, when you've unplugged something and you're in forgetfulness, obviously you've forgotten. You don't remember. You don't remember. Now, this is really exciting in relation to these kinds of missions because if you understand divine justice, so or the divine justice team, you are the angels, the angelics. Now, there is a hierarchy of the angelic triad, which has three pillars to each triad. So there's Miyate, Shikyata, Karamatikena. I am going to read them out to you. So the angel hierarchy, the first triad is the group that is closest to God. This includes the seraphim, the cherubim, and the thrones. Now, that triad is what you might call the top pillar of the Trinity, right? And none of them is better than the other. They're all balanced, they're all synergized, they're all harmonized. We need this for three-dimensional reality. Our second triad, which is responsible for the governing between the realms, so being that of the balance point, is the between the heaven and the earth, right? So the balance point is governs between these heaven and earth realms. They are the governors, and that includes the dominions, the virtues, and the powers. Now, the third triad is the closest to humanity. This is the triad that includes the principalities. Oh, see, I don't use all of these languages all the time. Archangels and angels. So these are different sects of souls from the angelic representative. They're here as a part of divine justice. So when you come for divine justice, you're here with a primary mission to reinstate sovereignty here on the earth. Now, this mission specifically has been going on for the last 3.5 years, and we have 15 days, finishing on Halloween. Ha ha, hurrah. So we are quite amusing with our little timelines and dates and the synchronicities of how we plan things. And it is in a point where we no longer have to keep it concealed from ourselves and from others. So that's why I'm here, able to go, okay, you can like, share, comment. We can really share this energy out now. We can really start calling in the 144, the bringers of change, aligning, asking those to reinstate their roles, to become that of what they were chosen and given the gift of God. So in regards to being an angel is a being that was sent from God to earth to partake in a specific role. This role specifically we're talking about is divine justice. Not all angels or angelics are here for divine justice. This is a very specific one with those three triad energies as the divine justice team. And these energies are currently been purifying, alchemizing, restructuring, realigning, regenerating, and reinstating universal law. So there are, you have the certain laws of the universe, and then you also have the sub laws or the laws that sit within it. Now there are many universal laws, and that is what our universe has as what is allowing us to have sovereign free will and choice. Now what's been taking place is the awareness that the universal laws have been muddied, they've been manipulated, they've been misused, they've been disguised, they've been translated wrong. And so these universal laws, without them, we can't reinstate sovereignty. We can't actually banish all of the energies that are in violation, because if the law can't be read properly, then how do you instate something that is not clear, concise, and instatable within its language? And so the universal laws have become, or had past tense, become disrupted. And so many of us have been going through what's called the purification process. And so we've been undercover. The best way to breach and to purify and to work with energies like this is to put yourself in the firing line. Now, I'm one that likes to go into the role in divine justice as the victim. So I very intentionally put myself in the firing line because I'm like, hey, I'm so strong. I've got this. I can remember. I can pull myself through, which is good when I'm fully plugged into all of my monadic God essence and my goddess truth and my connection to God in general, and that I can hear and my oracle's on and I'm in my multidimensionality and I see things and I witness things and I have all of my gifts and abilities. But when those are unplugged, guess what? Poor human me has no idea that she's undercover. She forgets. So what has been happening is that there is many of us that have played different roles of the divine justice, and we have been unawares of what roles we've been playing, because we will take them on to ensure that we play it as if it was through the true energy and expression of the experience. So as we have been catching out malevolence, evil, we have been looking at people that are copying and coding and inverting. We're looking at people that are stealing essences and cloning them. We're looking at DNA modifications and genetic mutations. We're looking at blueprint changes and life purpose alterations. We're looking at anywhere that a soul has come into a body and has had their life experience either taken, stolen, given away through trickery, or silencing that. So taken, stolen, given away, or can't remember the last one for whatever reason. I'm not sure, which is perfectly fine. So when these things happen, that's an effect on your sovereign truth of who you are. If someone is siphoning your chi, you don't have your divine birthright of energy. If someone is taking your codes, inverting them, and using them, then they are taking your gifts and abilities, and they're rightfully yours. They are your ownership, your property. If you create something, if you're a creator being, if you're a being that has developed something, it's no different to in this three-dimensional realm. The copyright is there as a way to look after your rights as a individual and what you have brought in to this experience. So what is unveiling is so many layers, and this is why we're all going, what is going on? Things feel really slow. There's a slowness, but there's intensity. And the intensity is all of the universal laws being pinged and pivoted at once. And you've got all of the different things that are moving around so that the what you would call the timeline recalibration. So the timelines that have been affected by the confusion, muddiness, inability to translate universal law in integrity has messed with the timelines and their anchor points in the earth. So timelines are being affected in the form of there is an ability to put synthetic timelines into our experience because we're unable to hold sovereign organic time. So time itself is being very much experienced in a very interesting way. So time is slow and fast. It is on hold. It's suspended. The time at the moment is going through so many experiences of how time can move based on the purification of these universal laws. Now, there is a recognition that these shifts as we purify, so in the next 15 days, so you're going to start coming online and you're like, what? Of course I would do that, right? Like me. Of course I would put myself in as the victim of the underworld and the dark lords of the void of no thing of extinction that want to completely kill the human race to purify the entire universal laws. Of course I would do that because I know I'll find my way back to God eventually, right? Now, because you can see whatever your gifts are, your abilities are, and they were all working, and you unplugged only the things that you didn't need so that you were able to do your role. So you were able to either be that of, and if we look at it from this, you would either be a persecutor, you might be a gatherer of evidence, a witness, a data collector. You may also be a part of the resources team. You could be one of the persecutors and the executors. There are the jury. There is also the judge itself is actually God, right? So God, consciousness, is the judge. But we have all of these different roles, to ensure that we are all playing our pieces and parts to um, create a sovereign universal law structure. Because what happens when we get to purify this in 15 days and anchor it, it means that anything that breaches that, because it's able to be seen, heard, felt, received, then is a breach. Now, 3 breaches of universal law and you're out. So that means that if you have a demonic energy that comes into your life experience and breaches your sovereignty once, they get a warning. If they breach your sovereignty twice, they get their second warning. If they breach sovereignty third time and they don't evolve, change, or transform, then they are eradicated, executed from this experience. This is where the darkness gets to be moved. This is where we're going to start to see some really uncomfortable and icky things in our physical transmutation field, because there are so many beings that are running off these energies. So, for instance, there is a video that I have just done called The Execution, I think, of the Antichrist. And it talks about this. So the reason that it's important for you to understand is if one, you feel you're a part of the divine justice team. Two, you may be a part of the triad or the hierarchy of angels, that you feel like sovereignty is one of your prime values in this human experience. So if you hold resonance to those, then this message is absolutely for you. And it is important for you to start to be a little bit more compassionate, because you're very smart and you've put yourself into some very specific situations. If you don't understand universal law, you can look up. There's some great YouTubes, and I actually will link the one that I was just listening to, because I needed to get to one specific law that I was tweaking on, that I was sitting in purification, which was the law of destruction, which is basically to create perfection, you need to experience destruction, because it's like when you meet some level of perfection, you're going to have a tower moment, right? And that will consistently happen unconsciously, because anything that stays stagnant energetically will die and destroy, right? So if you don't move, eventually you will die. And that law specifically is about coming into the balance, where how do you move with change, with destruction, with challenge, with chaos, but in alignment and balance, which is what that point of unity point is about. It's about being in the balance point of polarity and being able to consistently move and change without going into ascension, descension. Now, if you know any of my teachings, I talk about, guys, we don't have to ascend to descend. We can find the middle way, find the middle way, find the middle way. So, of course, I would choose that universal law to immensely put myself in, so that I have absolutely been at a point of perfection. I've had a complete tower moment, destroyed myself, and rise myself in the way up to clear and purify this law of all of the different mutations and all of the agendas, influences, and energies that were using this law to hurt us as human beings, as life forms on this planet. So I'd love to invite you, if this is resonant with you, to actually go through the link that I will provide, and it is 50 Universal Laws. Read through, listen through, and find the law that you're working on. What's the primary law you're working on, and receive the codes. Now, because I've listened to this multiple times, I've coded it. I'm sure many other people have coded it. So when you receive a transmission, you're not only receiving from your cognition, but your soul and your energy is receiving. This is why some songs, certain songs have a lot of energetic experience, because not only the writer has coded it and written the information, but all of those souls that have soul resonance to that writer, to those words, they code it and put their frequency on top of it as well, which is why it becomes this beautiful reality. So if we think of some of those really powerful the only one that I can think of right now is the John Lennon song. I can't even think of the words, but I can hear it in the ethereal realms, which is so hilarious. It's like, yeah, we've all coded this song. Oh my goodness. Something about love. Imagine. Thank you. Imagine all the people living well in peace. Oh my God. So yeah, that has been a very heavily coded song by so many angelic representatives. So you listen to that and you can feel that through yourselves, through your body, through your experience. No, absolutely not that song. I don't think any of Britney's songs have been coded with angelics, but there are specific songs that have these things. So this is the same when you listen to certain transmissions. When there is someone who's done a channeled, say, Arcturian reading, or if for this, every one of you that has codes to contribute, you also, as we're here collectively creating this, put your codes of, hey, yes, this and this and this and this. And the more that we are of contribution, certain things will activate more than others, things that are resonant in some form of truth. I don't want to forget all the things that I was going to talk about. Okay, so what's been happening at the moment is we're very much talking about impact. Impact is the loudest word of the moment. So inner impact, outer impact. How do we have sovereign impact? So how I explain this in my New Earthers Mystery School. If you are interested in New Earth experiencing and wanting to really cultivate a New Earth energy and resonance, I would love to invite you into our Mystery School. We have 3 hours of live training a week, as well as multiple transmissions, different techniques, tools, transformational processes, creation process, blueprint building processes, purpose and alignment processes. So you can find that in my link tree. What I spoke to around impact is, as a man or a woman, you're going to, until you become unified, experience and be of impact either internally or externally. And so most of us that are afraid of our power, instead of impacting our outer world, we impact ourselves, and we hold our impact internally, and we create internal chaos, internal destruction, internal overwhelm, because we're holding everything inside of our physical vessel. I won't impact the world. No, 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 no. I'm going to bound myself. So if you've got inflammation, if your physical body is swollen, if there are things that are taking place in the physical vessel that are not healthy, that are not aligned for you, digestive issues, you've got a lot of physical symptoms, it's because your inner impact is getting to a point where you need to reclaim your power in whatever form that is. So this is all around internal reconnection to power. When I return to my power, then I am not of impact. I can be sovereign in the truth of using my power through the eyes of God Source Creator. If you are more have perhaps had incarnation cycles and a history of being impactful on the outside, so perhaps you've had some power struggles, you've had the reverse of that. So I'm very much an internal impact. I will fuck myself up over and over and over again before I'll fuck you guys up, and that's just the direction of where I've come from, the purity, the angelic expression of me. That's my that's just been my human incarnation cycle, right? I've sat in the light feminine. My dark feminine has often been pushed away, and the integration process is, I would much rather be love and light and all things bright than meet those other aspects until I've had to integrate through these contrasting mirrors. So you may be the other side of that, which is the flip, which is you have a lot of strength, a lot of power. You might have abused it at different points in time. You might be forceful. And what that means is that your internal peace is more important. And sometimes your outer impact is disruptive to the rest of the world. So your inner peace is, I don't actually care what it takes to have inner peace. The outer worlds, it's their problem, right? So this is usually the masculine lensed mind. So the masculine lens mind sees the outer world. If there's something shitty happening in my life, it's work's problem. It's this person's problem. It's you're doing that. It's this. Now the feminine lens often is, if there's a problem in my reality, I must be doing something wrong. I'm the problem. Where am I doing this? What do I need to change? Da, 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 da. point being that we need to actually balance this and ensure that we are recognizing that we're only focusing on one area, and how does, when I'm impacting myself, actually still have an impact on the outer world. We're just not seeing it in the same way because A, we're not showing up in our power. B, we're suppressing our voice. C, we're not allowing our medicine to be shown. Like, right? That has an impact. You are of impact. You are of a negative impact because you're not allowing yourself to rise. You're not allowing yourself to speak. You're hiding away. You're afraid. So when you are in that, your negative impact is you're not being your truth, which is what God sent you here to be an embodiment of. Now, if you're negatively impacting the outer reality, then it is about actually recognizing that there are some accountability and ownership pieces in connection to where self has become louder. So this is like a God complex, where God complex has become louder than God's voice itself. So the impact is from I am better than God, I know better than God, I am God in a nutshell. So what's taking place is through these universal law purifications, we are the ones that are, I'm not God, I'm afraid of God. If I'm godly, I might hurt someone, is going to start to reclaim their God, goddess, and energy. Those that have God complex are going to start to hear and purify their channel and receive God in truth. So the angels, the things that have used their power and done some pretty uncomfortable things over history, are going to reconcile that. For those of us that have given up our gifts and abilities for others based on hierarchical control and different things, we're going to start to own our power and take action. So there's a balance point. This balance point, the weighing of the scales, is divine justice. Now, when you balance your God energy, when you're no longer of inner impact or outer impact, that means that you can actually be of impact from sovereignty, which means that you impact those that are sovereignly choosing. You impact through the sovereign experience of what God is asking of you. And that means that you can hear God and you do as God asks of you with no question, because you have become so connected to your channel, to yourself, to your masculine, to your feminine. You see purity for what purity is. Now, purity is not love and light. Purity is the energy of the original point of consciousness or energy. So purity being that it's if there was the first point of love, right? So the first time that love was ever created in the creation space, pure love is going to that point. Before love experienced, and before love was distorted, before love was misunderstood, before love was manipulated, before love, yes, the 0 point field. So purity is the 0 point field of a specific energy. So you can have, which was so lovely for me to have a nice discussion around this because it's juicy, right? We always think purity is from up there. Purity isn't. I'm a purity code carrier. It's one of my major things here in this incarnation to do. Now, purity has definitely messed me up, and if you've listened to my stories and you've watched my YouTubes, you would know this. And one of the best ways, I'll just share this really quickly because it's quite cute. When I was understanding my purity lineage and being a purity code carrier and here to instate purity on the earth, I had a distorted perspective. To bring purity meant that I had to purify the satanic realms. Now, I guess there was good intent in that. Yes, I did want to purify satanic consciousness. I did want to purify that from the world, but I wasn't doing it from the lens of truth or from what took me a lot of initiations to understand. And when I was kept meeting satanic energies, satanic abuse, demonic, the 7 deadly sins, this distortion of sexuality, all of this 7 deadly sins, Satan consciousness that kept coming up. I remember being shown in meditation, and I was in that point of like, I just don't get it. I'm exhausted. This initiation is like, I'm getting to the end. And I was shown a candle, right? I was shown this one little candle, and God was like, this is you. And I was like, I am a light. I am a candle. Yes. And put the candle in Satan's den and said, you're trying to light up the whole satanic realm. And instead of being smart little angel and coming up out of satanic realm and placing yourself in a church with other lights that would actually help light up the world, you're stuck down there. And it was quite funny because it was true. I was over and over and over. I was purifying satanic energy. I was doing all of this stuff, but I was trying to purify something that didn't want to be purified, didn't care about being purified, and absolutely had no intention of coming up to God itself. It was in that realm because it enjoyed functioning from that realm. So I did come up and hang out with my other brothers and sisters in the light, and that's when I started to go through my first transcendence experience. So, with that beautiful little message around this, what we want to look at is the understanding of purity itself. So, purity of these universal laws is bringing them back to their 0 point, their origin point, the point of field. So many of us have been going, go back to your origin point, come back to the origin point, remember your origin point. Yes, you're going back there so you can get the purified expression of your essence, the purified expression of your soul, the purified expression of your lineage, the purified expression of the spark of light, the purified expression of wherever it is that you're moving through the time-space continuum and anchoring it into your body. If you go to the origin point, whether it be the origin point of a wound, whether it be the origin point of creation, whether it be the origin point of some point of experience, you get to go there before all of the stuff. Now, the whole point of this beautiful journey and this mission that we're on in divine justice, but the great awakening and bringing in the golden planet and the new earth, is to return to the original plan. The original plan is the origin point for the earth. The origin point for the earth is being instated, and it requires a couple of modifications, right? Because what happens when you return to an origin point? The first time love was created, dunk. Then you go and experience love. You experience love through abuse. You experience love through addiction. You experience love through obsession. You experience love through confusion. You experience love through self-sacrifice. You experience love, right? So you have this whole love story, and you've gone and you've journeyed this whole reality of love. And then you come back to the origin point of love and you're like, oh, I see. Yes, it was love, but it wasn't the pure expression of love. It was love, but now I've experienced that. I know true, pure love. So that's what purity is. And that's what's important for us, is we're bringing back the purified expression of the earth here and now. So this sovereign impact, if you want to be of impact like I am now, I'm impacting you through sovereignty because I'm sharing this and this. You also have to consent and be in a point of sovereign choosing to be on my transmissions. I don't necessarily say it, but I have already coded and expressed that if you're not here in sovereign free will to receive these frequencies, to receive these codes, to receive the energetic support, the ethereal connection to all of the different realms that I work in, which are far more than what we're speaking, right? They move through this awakening, and I am here as a purifier. So your chakra systems will start purifying, and I've been talking about purity a lot. So wherever your chakras need to go through the purification process or the baraka process, which is what I am here to do for humanity, is the purification of the 7 chakras specifically. That's my role on a more human purpose lens. Have many, too many. I will give some up if some would like to take some. I'm still happy to hand over a few things because life's a bit busy. So, looking at the impact of are you of pure impact? Are you of sovereign impact? Are you communicating in a way that you are not judging, shaming, that you are not projecting, right? Because you can speak and still energetically affect. Now, it takes a lot of holding your channel, a lot of intention of the word, becoming very clear, refining, defining, and fine-tuning yourself so that you can communicate. Now, I speak in all dimensional realms, right? So I can speak extremely high level in the full connection of that of God itself in the God consciousness field, and I can talk superhuman. And you may have heard me in every single dialect. It is still vibrational truth. And if I speak out of truth, you'll see me catch myself. I will grab it and I will alchemize it straight away because I refuse to be of impact. So it is to be of sovereign impact. I want to impact you by helping you remember. I want to impact you by explaining what your cognitive mind might need to hear. I want to impact you by assisting you to further focus on what your mission is actually gifting you. I want to impact you by letting you know that it's okay, babes, it's okay. We didn't forget. We didn't go off path. It was all planned. We're nearly there. 15 more days. We've got this. We can do this, right? So that's me. I want to impact through compassion, through love, through understanding, through education, through frequency. Yet it is all chosen to be engaged with or not. There is no force and there is no withdrawal. That's what sovereign impact is. So this is how we do that is we bring back our laws. So what happens when these universal laws are instated? HOLLAWEEN, holy fuck balls, what a show that's gonna be, is HOLLAWEEN. Oh man, HOLLAWEEN. I've had some crazy HOLLAWEENs. The last HOLLAWEEN I did, I had an exorcism, right? I've had so many. Whoa. Anyway, whew, I can feel it. Can you feel it? Let me know if you can feel it in the chat box. How we're like, oh my gosh, we're heading towards that. What is that? Which is exciting, super exciting. It's big, guys. It's so big. It's so big. So I'm really proud of us all because 3.5 years, no wonder we're tired. No wonder we're tired. We're like, yeah. Can't keep going. So what happens? Timelines. The timelines, we then eradicate the majority of synthetic timelines. So we have human species and consciousness that can choose organic timelines. Organic timelines means we have sovereign timelines chosen from sovereign truth, which means that when we hit this point of anchoring these pure, restructured universal laws that assist and reinstate sovereignty into the physical realm, right? So I've talked around sovereignty is here. It's all choosing now. But to physically see that ripple through, we need to anchor and solidify everything. So it's going through its anchoring process. It is not solidified because we haven't finished the purification process. We can't solidify something that is not in complete purity because then we'll just recreate the same thing. So The batushka patakaraka tukushumbore amateri amatara matare anayakiana hamanaheya. An organic timeline will mean that those that are here in a higher consciousness, that have come God embodied, that have become Christos embodied, that have become angelic or seventh, ninth, 11th dimensional embodied humans, get to have the primary focus of what timeline we work on, because that's how hierarchy of consciousness works. That if you become God embodied, guess what? You get to be God. That is a very powerful role. And it is also something that is very, requires a lot of discernment. You need to make sure you're in purity, right? So that means that based on this, there's going to be a shift. So people like you and me and my partners, my students, my mentors, the people that I know are at this level make choices for the timeline on the behalf of the entirety. Now, it doesn't mean that the entirety don't have a choice. Now, this is not, what is the words? Someone's going to have to pop it in the comments. Um, we're not a democracy, or we are, but we aren't, right? There is a level of needing governing bodies. And so there is a requirement that this is looked at in the hierarchy of consciousness, that those that have a higher bandwidth, a more purified connection, that are more in that space, get more of a choice for where we are going as a human race. Now, that is very exciting, because before this point in time, there has been enough maneuvering and through the manipulation of polarity to believe that we're all equal. We're not. And I've been saying it over and over for years. I'm sorry, we are not all equal. We are not all equal. My word over the NPC that has no spirit and soul, that is shooting up on the streets and physically abusing human life and has its opinion, their opinion means nada compared to mine. That's just truth. There is a very important recognition of this, because we cannot reconcile through the cycle of life, through the cycle of evolution, through universal law and the law of one, what is required if we still have the illusion that we're all equals. We are not all equals. And so we will need to shift our perspective on some of these things, which means not seeing your opposing force as your equal, not seeing certain energies that they need saving, recognizing that certain people, oh, wow, am I going to say this out loud? Whew! So, thank you. Thank you. Whew, this one's hard for me. So I am going to Maria kieshka patakarameteri anaya kiana. See, I'm not immune. Maria says taranata. And if you know me, I've struggled with this side of things for a while, and it is spoken about in the execution of the Antichrist video, that certain people need to die. Now, I don't like stating that ever, because I will not do it, right? I will work on my connection to God and my sovereignty and myself over and over and over, because I don't want to be a part of having to work that way. It's not my way. But in the grand scheme of things, destruction, death is necessary. So if we look at it with a very neutral point of view, because you need to sometimes to go, yes, actually, some things do need to die. The part of me that wants to always sabotage myself either needs to die or become fully integrated by transforming into a new energy. And if we look at it as cells, and we look at it as simple as the cellular makeup of the universe itself, Cells need to evolve and split, or to maintain life, as they evolve and split, or if they're not willing to evolve, they will die. And if you don't do that, the entire ecosystem is destroyed. So there is that recognition. So this is going to be some big, powerful changes. Now, October 30th being the completion of this and the solidification, or the predicted, I will say the predicted solidification of the purified universal laws, is where we are going to have a big influx of consciousness, because those that are in the hierarchical lens have more impact, which has a ripple effect. Now, there's a lot of people that are about to go through a crown chakra awakening, and they are going to start to see, feel, sense, and experience things that they've never experienced before. This is called this is the next great awakening. This is the generation that were born in 2007 onwards. So these are younger. One of these is my daughter, and she doesn't know what's going on for her other than she's sick and she's in bed and she's got headaches and she's not well and she's had a big catalytic thing happen in her life. This is what happens when we awaken. There is a lead up. There's some kind of experience that will bring you into the reverberation where eventually your crown chakra will open and you see the world differently. Until that crown chakra activates and opens, you cannot see the world. So this 30th is allowing for this bandwidth to occur and for this next wave to come into their crown chakra activation. And as that happens and the restructuring of the earth grids all occur, we're going to start seeing some radical physical transformation. Finally. Sorry, but I've been waiting for a while. I'm like, maybe I'm a really shit oracle. Maybe I didn't see the truth. Like, you've been showing me these visions over and over and over for years. I talked about deluges and different places and maps, and you're making me look like a fraud, God. And so I checked in so many times. I'm like, God, is it true? You've told me this. People don't believe me. It hasn't happened. No. I'm like, I'm not going to keep talking. I'm not going to keep sharing the message because nothing's occurring. Things are occurring, just not to the level of what I have expressed, which is the end of days. But that is closer than we think. Now, in saying that, closer, understanding time. Closer could be, and I will be very clear about this, the timeline I currently have for the first catalytic event globally is between 2 months and 3.7 years. So I'm not going to say it's close as in it's next week. It's close as in it's a few weeks away, as in it's close. It will be here in a month or so. It could be 3.7 years away. So that shows you the range of closeness, right? The range of closeness is, and there's no solid time. I will share what I can on my YouTube as I do now that I can and I'm allowed and I'm back online and I'm here. And so please do turn on your notifications. Please do share with those that are here preparing for Armageddon, that are part of the 144 here for this mission, because this is key insight and this is my role to you. So, if you have your notifications on, you will not miss any mission messages. They are normally long videos between 30 minutes and an hour and a half because of the amount of energy, codes, frequencies, and interpretation. Otherwise, you might think it's me just having a chat, but it's a lot more than that. Okay, so as this is occurring, the Divine Justice team will have a shift in focus, right? So when we are completed our mission around the 30th of October at this predicted date, there will be a different positioning of yourself. So what's important right here, right now? Do you need to reclaim your divine justice role? Now, for one of the souls that I worked with today, because I've been doing some inner child healing and working with very specific souls for very specific reasons, right? Because if you're coming into my vortex at the moment, it's because you're important for this mission and for the overall whole. Not because I like doing inner child healings as much as I do love supporting everyone and their beautiful inner child. I love holding the inner child because I'm a mother at heart. I'm the mother. I'm just going to call myself the mother of existence. So with that awareness, you will require to regather your thoughts. Kiaya miatesh keriana ta karamoto koshia kiata karamoto koreama inchambata karamate kiatesh kiata ramato kore mahamate shipata karakoto shopotoria kiata takamate kianai and sambarombo to. Okay, so with the mission completion, claiming your role now and recognizing what that is. So one of the sisters that I held space for today, she had to claim a role that she thought she was mishearing. She heard 3 years ago through source that she needed to give consent to the physical, I guess, execution of a being. Now she was not going through that process, but she needed to be the one that witnessed, and she refused, right? Because most of us do. We're like, no, I will not be a part of that. I did not come here to do that again. I am not going to take matters into my own hands. I'm not going to listen to distortions. Now, what wasn't aware of this is that she has a very specific role with ensuring that the dark feminine, so the specific dark feminine energies that have been given multiple warnings, multiple points of evolution, multiple opportunities to change and transform, also multiple help by giving direct connection to source, light, creator, to stay here in the human experience, have chosen not to. Now that's sovereign choice. Sovereign choice has consequence. Major theme at the moment, consequence. Consequence to your actions will always be a part of cause and effect. So the consequence is that if you are a being and you are refusing to evolve and you are here on borrowed time, you are no longer welcome. Now, we need individuals that will make the call of who those people are, who are in so much purity, so much communion, so much light. Now, that is a hard role, right? It's a hard role to have this ask of you to go, who deserves to be saved and who doesn't? This is the story of the Bible. The 144 will be the ones that are saved. But that is because they chose God. They chose compassion. They chose the light of truth. They chose sovereignty. The 144 are the ones that will be saved, but not because they were special, because they chose to save themselves, because they chose. So when you have this, you are then responsible with the information that you've come into, which means that there are certain things as a messenger, as a God, as a representative that you do God's work. God's work is wrath. God's work is consequence. God's work is death. God's work is change. God's work is healing. God's work is metamorphosis. God's work is the entire creation space. And God's interpretation will need to be done in different layers. And so some of you are here for things that seem more love and light. I'm here to be a code carrier of instantaneous Christos healing. But what is it that you also are here to do? Because guess what? You are a balanced being, which means that you will do things that appear to be good and appear through a distorted lens to be things that you were like, no way. Okay, so there are awarenesses that are going to be big here, because if you've sat through 53 minutes of me talking, then you are going to have some crazy ass dreams, some very interesting energetics over the next few days, some meditations, and lots of things to digest and be with, because these messages are triggering, confronting, and they are what they are because they're meant to be. Because if I could tell you in any other way, I would. But you are here to be the light and the dark. You are the unity point. You are unity itself, an angelic representative to bring back sovereignty, which means that you will be asked to act accordingly. All right? So after this finishes, you get to choose a new assignment. You will get a new positioning. So a new positioning in the next missions. You may choose to completely exit divine justice, which is something that I did for a period. I needed reprieve. I was like, oh God, divine justice is hard work. Give me a different role for a while, please. And choose some different roles. You get to position yourself. Now, I'm going to be clear around the timeline structure for the next mission, for the next phase of the 144 as a primary energy, is that you're positioning yourself for the next 3 to 7 months. Okay, so it's not a big long one, but you're positioning yourself for the next 3 to 7 months, and you want to position yourself in alignment with your sacred heart and your God choosing. So when you get there, or now, asking your heart, sitting in deep presence, meditation, self-reflection, question, how do I want to position myself over the next 3 to 7 months? What is important for me? What do I want to feel? What do I want to experience? What brings me joy in doing God's work? What do I know in my remembrance? What gifts can be offered? And sit in that contemplation and get very clear around how you would like to position yourself now, so that you can align yourself to that point in the experience when everything shifts and moves very quickly and drastically. All right, my loves, so much there, lots to digest. If you would like to join our new earthers, please follow the links, join. It is $170 USD a month, which works out to be about, I don't know, it's about 60 Australian dollars or something a week, which has so many things, so much to assist New Earth Consciousness, Golden Planet, Leadership, 144, Oracle readings, all of the stuff and things. If you are wanting to create more conscious wealth, I do Soul Business Blueprint. Very different to this. I have two, you could say that I have two major businesses. One is all things quantum and crazy. The other one is soul purpose and wealth matrix work, which is very elegant, elite, and very conflicting. They just really feel like chalk and cheese, but you get to experience all parts of my personality. So the this mentorship program, I actually have 2 spaces available at the moment. If you would like to understand a little bit about what it is, because it is very hard to translate. As you can imagine, I just spent 57 minutes talking about something that was everything I speak to is very multifaceted, multi-directional. And the work that I do is designing your dharmic path and building a soul's blueprint or a business plan based on your dharmic soul human incarnation and what your gifts and abilities are from a human level all the way to a multidimensional level. And you build a business structure based on that so that you can live in sustainable wealth and fulfillment with your truth. Now, that knowing what that actually is and what that looks like can be very confusing. So if you feel like you would really like to be looking at this, it is an investment, 3 months of time, energy, and sacred exchange. I put a lot of energy into this. I can share the documents of the business plans from my previous clients because they have given me permission and consent, and you can see what I mean and what is unfolded. Now, it takes quite a bit of integration after the 3 months. There is about a 6-week integration phase before the full building of those foundations can occur. So it is for those that are getting to a point where they're realizing their business is no longer working for them. They are getting to a point of transforming their business. They are getting to a recognition of wanting to step into purpose and really being ready. There is a point of having the resources to invest in oneself, because it's not just about building a business. It's about investing in the pillar of the truth of who you are and consistently choosing you in contribution to the all. So please email me and I can directly send you some information on the Soul Blueprint Business Plans mentorships. And the other thing we have is Recoding Wealth Creation. So that is next Monday, the 20th at 1:30 p.m. So that is a donation-based offering, 3-tier event. We get to do Kundalini work and play with wealth creation, which is really fun. So thank you for all of the beautiful comments here. Everything that's here is really delicious. I will be reading it as I jump off. Thank you for your time, your energy, your contribution, and your magic. Thank you for your service. You are seen, you are witnessed, you are heard. I am so grateful for you, 11 and 11. Until next time, ℚ𝕖𝕒.